His name is the franchise.
Oh, what a shot! I don't believe it!
Stevie Franchise.
He has a name that says the weight is on his shoulders.
In the beginning, those shoulders could barely lift the ball to the rim.
He was very athletic, but he was very tiny.
And he would always say, am I getting bigger now? Am I getting bigger?
His body grew, and so did his reputation.
A local legend, you know, he's one of those guys you hear about on the playground.
He owned the gym. He served everybody up in there.
Then tragedy derailed his promising career.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about that.
You can see him shutting down. We couldn't do a whole lot for him.
He completely stopped playing basketball at all. I mean, it just wasn't there anymore.
He said, what we gonna do now, Jeff? I said, Steve, God gonna take care of us one day.
Slowly, he healed, and the passion returned.
It sort of became apparent that that dream was just put on hold, that he's picking it back up now.
All of a sudden, he started really seeing how good he could be.
Oh, what an athletic play by Steve Francis!
The legend of Steve Francis just took off from there.
You want excitement?
This is Steve Francis.
You got it. Wow!
Beyond the glory.
Absolutely outstanding! Unbelievable!
Do you have anything to say to your fans?
The Vancouver Grizzlies select Steve Francis.
He introduced himself with a whine.
The Maryland guard looked like he might trip over his bottom lip.
What you saw draft night was a disappointed person.
You know, I was going to be so far from my family, from my grandma.
He's not a phony. You may love him or not love him, but he's going to be himself.
Steve, what happened there at the end of the half?
Man, that's all I'm saying.
That's uncalled for.
It's emotion that stokes his fire.
Stevie Franchise!
And emotion that lands him in hot water.
Hanging on the rim, extra long. Goaltender, that's a hard foul.
He leads the NBA in technical fouls.
Francis fouled him, and it's a flagrant foul.
Now they are really yakking, James. Look at him.
Now Francis took a swing.
A stiff arm. It's unbelievable.
At a very young age, he wouldn't back down from nobody. He was sure about his game.
Growing up in Tacoma Park, there was so much stuff that you can do. We had people who really cared for, you know, the kids growing up, knowing that a lot of the kids living there had single parents.
Because even though we loved it, the conditions wasn't always right. Being on food stamps, a lot of us was on food stamps and stuff growing up like that.
You get in trouble. If you hung out with the wrong crowd, you definitely could.
My mother used to watch out the window all the time. We had to make sure that he was in the house at a certain time. You know, my mother didn't play that, especially with him because he was the youngest.
My original father, he left my mom when I was like 2 years old. He made decisions in his life that, hey, he needed to move on, and, you know, we just, you know, dealt with it.
My father would come around every so often, but, you know, things just got kind of tough and tight, and, you know, I guess it was time for him to leave.
My mom, man, that's... there's so much that I can talk about. I can remember at times when we lived on Maple Avenue in Tacoma Park. We had like 14 people staying in a 3-bedroom apartment.
Some of my friends are getting to it with their parents, and, you know, 12 at night, they'll come knocking on the door. I open the door, let my mother know they're there. She'll let them in. Tomorrow, she'll have one-on-one with them.
When Steve wasn't at home, he could usually be found at the local basketball courts.
He was always dribbling, doing the tricks between the legs. Really could handle the basketball very well at a very young age.
I did it so much, man, that I used to get kicked out of stores because I used to go in the local sub shop, bouncing the basketball, throwing the basketball off the wall.
Yeah, he was very athletic, but he was very tiny. And so he couldn't get the basketball to the rim from a long distance.
I used to mark my height every day. I used to come in the bathroom in the morning when I got up, and, you try to check your height. So there's a wall behind me right in the bathroom, so I'm marking my height. So for like 4 months, it didn't move. So I'm telling my grandma, I ask her every day, I'm like, am I gonna grow? Am I gonna grow? I never thought that I would pass like 4'11".
He wanted to be taller. He wanted to be tall. This was just like, man, I can't stand being this short. I want to grow. I want to grow.
But Steve never let his size dictate his style of play.
He was able to take a hit, make a pass, score, whatever. I mean, he had no problems getting in there.
Yeah, he would definitely take it to the hole. He wasn't scared. I mean, he wasn't scared at all.
And we was playing like with the 18 and older, and they didn't have no mercy on him because he was small or young. It's a good thing they had the mats behind the backboard because he was going to hit him.
I seen him as a little kid, actually, when I used to speak at the basketball camps when I was in college. And I see these kids playing, and then I see this little waterhead kid off to the side just shooting. Layups, reverses, dribbling. When it was his turn to go in, he'd go in the game, play. After he would finish, he'd come back on the sidelines and just work on his game instead of being like everybody else who was sitting on the sideline watching the game.
We were at one of the gyms in Maryland, and we only had 4 players. We were sitting on the sideline, and he was like, let me play. And I was like, nah, man, he's too small. Nah, man, And he was begging me to let him play. I mean, he thrilled me right away. He was running up and down the court. I wasn't even playing as much. I was too busy watching him.
The thing that he possessed that I saw that a lot of people didn't have was he played ball from his soul. It was like it was something inside of him.
Steve was a star at Tacoma Park Middle School, but success didn't come so easily at Blair High.
I thought I was the big man on campus. He's little Stevie. He's going to be the next star to come out of Blair High School. And then when I got there, coming from middle school to high school, the whole atmosphere just changed. You see so much going on in high school. You see guys skipping school, going to hang out, drinking and smoking and doing things like that.
I guess the excitement of being in high school and being around the older guys, which is natural. He lost focus for a second.
Normally people have like a senior skip. We had a skip party like once a week.
We had to do a lot of chasing around and finding out where he was and some other students.
I didn't play basketball until my sophomore year. I didn't have the grades. Sophomore year, I'm 3rd point guard on the list behind a guy who I think I'm better than. And me and my boy Jason Mascara, he was in front of me.
Playing time and was pretty slim in terms of trying to get everyone in.
My sophomore year, actually, I got kicked off the team. I got suspended, and then they kicked me off the team. I was so upset because, I had dreams of being a basketball player at Blair High School. I had dreams of, taking my team to the state championship, and, I didn't get a chance to play.
Just a sophomore, Steve would never play another game of high school basketball.
He just got the word that he won't be allowed to play.
And I'm like, man, all the talent that I have, all the hours that I put in, and I'm out here, excuse me.
But a shocking loss would take the heaviest toll.
Night that he found out, then he just bursting into tears.
He said, Jeff, what we gonna do now? I said, Steve, God's gonna take care of us.